I'm Frank Price. We're in Sterling County, Texas. Son and I live, son's my partner. We live here in Sterling County, been here for ever, I guess, almost. Before there was a Sterling City anyway, on our family. You know, once again, is that big blue right there?
Yes, I would venture that it is.
And you know, there's
In there.
we look at this and we think, okay, in 1870s, when the cattlemen really began to come into this, when my great-grandfather came in, great-grandfather, he came into Sterling County in 1881. Open range, not a fence anywhere. There were 3 large cattle operations already here, you know, your old open range kind of guys. When my great-grandfather and his brother got here, those open range guys considered them nesters because they weren't the big ranchers.
Yeah.
My great-grandfather, WL is what they called him, he got to working with those big ranchers pretty quick, so they understood each other and had got a good working relationship. The first fence built anywhere in the area was just north of the Middle Concho River. It was a drift fence, what it was. They and those big ranchers put that in because you just couldn't trust the people to the south because you would never get your cattle back. That was the reason behind putting that fence in.
Yeah.
But that was the first one there. My great-grandfather, when they moved in, they started out on Sterling Creek and lived in dugouts. They took the wheels off their wagons, set them down on the ground, and they slept in those wagons sitting on the ground. And the whole amazing story, you know, how and it's typical old time stories, what happened and all. But and I'll say one more about my great-grandfather. You can go to the courthouse in Tom Green County right now. At the time, Tom Green County was a lot bigger than it is now, but Sterling County was a part of it. Erie County was a part of Tom Green County. When they started registering the brands officially, when you go to the brand book this afternoon, you can go look. The first one listed is my great-grandfather.
What was that brand?
Running Elf.
Running Elf.
He wasn't the first one around, but he was progressive enough. He was the first one to get it registered.
Register it and get it
Cool
in.
deal, cool deal.
Very
But
cool.
now coming back around to my story, my thoughts, what we're seeing here, I wonder what those open range guys saw when they first got here. Perhaps we're getting close right here. Certain, you know, the good Lord created all of this in the different plants. Every plant out here has its purpose. Sometimes you have a hard time deciding what it is. You know, what's a grass bird good for? I don't know, but every point in succession, those plants, some do one thing a certain time of the year, some livestock like to graze a certain time, some they never graze. Then maybe you're just getting ground cover out of them. We discussed earlier, we just had a ½ inch of rain on this place. That's the first rainfall we've had since July 3rd. July 3rd, we had about 1 1/10 inches on this place. So we hadn't had huge amounts of rain. But with the cover we've got on the ground here, that ½ inch, we're gonna get some good out of it. If we had bare ground to start with, it ain't gonna happen. It's gonna evaporate almost immediately. And so we've, like I say, working with nature, if you're going to fight nature, it's probably not going to come out well. In our brush management programs, a lot of dollars are spent on brush management. We're going to fix it all. We're going to clear this brush. We're going to seed it. We're going to put a fence in here. We're going to put some water in here. Everything's going to be good. If you're going to continuously graze, it ain't going to work over the long term. It's not. And I was raised, we continuously grazed, Daddy did, light stocking rate, continuous grazing, because that's what understood. I was fortunate to come up with an ag teacher that taught early on. We talked about the Merrill 4 pasture system. We talked about the South African switchback system. I've long said, when you take on a ranch, you lease a place, and you've got maybe 8 pastures, it's just who knows. The first thing you've got to do is be sure that you've got enough water, because when you concentrate those livestock and you move into a certain pasture, you're not going to be there long, but while you're there, you need a lot of water. And that's almost always on leased country or country you bought. You've got to develop that water so that you have enough. And using polyline, we use a lot of it because you can string it out on the ground quickly, get water there, you lose the lease, roll the polyline up, move on. But even if you've got 2 pastures, that South African switchback, do it. Do something to rest it. If you got 4 pastures, the Merrill 4 pasture may be the best trick you've got. But do something. Rest it. Figure out a way to rest. Even for us, our traps around the house, they've known to be abused. You always got your saddle horse. Used to milk cows. We kind of got away from that. But times change. But we rotate through the traps around. It's just part of it. And it makes a tremendous difference. On traps, we'll discuss that in a little more detail this afternoon. Sometimes you got an old headquarters we do on this place that has 3 little traps that were abused forever. There's nobody there now, and no saddle horses, nothing to put in them. So when we come around grazing, they're a part of the grazing plan. And we will intentionally stay longer in those traps, increasing the animal impact on those traps. It's very noticeable how much faster they improve than just these bigger pastures. Thus it says more fencing. At what point do you draw the line? Particularly on lease country. This place here is 22 sections of lease country. It's got I believe 16 pastures in it, because it was 2 separate places to begin with. Speaking of this, if you had 22 sections of country, 16 pastures, under continuous grazing, how many men would it take year-round, feeding, tending livestock, keeping up with the waters? One really good man, I'd say probably a second man to help him out. Today on this place, a man comes over here 3 times a week for about a half a day. The only spot he has to see is be sure the water's right where the livestock are. He's got to be sure the water's right in the pasture he's moving to next. Check the fences. So you've cut your labor by about 2/3. That's part of that profitability picture we're looking at. 188 acres, 630 is what the effective acre.
Got it.
80 A's, animal days per acre. That's a really good tool in seeing how consistent you are across the board. Just like this on the Collins horse trap, it's showing 12 animal days per acre. That's because it's a smaller area and we're able to concentrate them in there and do what we call put the stomp on it. In a smaller area, you can do that, knowing that you may affect the animal condition because you're pushing a little too long in there. But in that smaller area, you're not going to be there very long, and then you can move out and let them regain condition.
Do you think this is capable of
Yes,
being like that.
Yes. It may be more capable than that because we got a little more depth of soil here.
So does that speed that up a little bit, you think?
You know, and it's like, you know, that mycorrhizal fungi.
Uh-huh.
Is it already prevalent here, or are we? This is one of those spots where if I were a scientist, I'd want to be testing my soils right here,
I
right
agree.
now, at this stage of the game,
I
to
agree.
see where we really are. Because some of those theorems, that's just what they are, it's theorems.
Uh-huh.
And
But you're right on a cusp here because you do have, you know, the groceries to work with, the plants to work with. And you've got almost better conditions too in terms of your foundation. So
yeah,
I see it happening real quick.
so
And on the hillsides as well, adjacent sides.
it's like I say, it's fascinating.
How do you find spots like this? Will you be horseback when you find something like this, or are you usually walking around?
I prowl.
You
a
prowl,
lot.
yeah.
I mean, I tell my wife if I don't show up someday for supper,
You found a cool spot?
and they find me dead out in the middle of the pasture and the hogs have eaten me, don't worry about it, I died happy.
Yes.
I'm a bit selfish. I invite folks out to come look at this country like you, and my intent from the time I start out the door that morning is what can I learn from this?
Right.
And it's always, you never know what you're going to learn. You know, I go to these different conferences and whatnot and think, well, I didn't learn anything, and well, I visited with old so-and-so and he told me these stories. And then 6 months later, this little light comes on. Well, I've got this idea. Well, so-and-so told me about it, something like that.
Right.
Then we can get it some more and go to the next level.
Right.
But that's how it's all been. It's been a learning process. I sure hadn't, it's not a self-taught thing that I do. It's many mentors in life. It's just sad for me, and I think it's most people. You don't really realize who your mentors are until they're gone.
Until they're gone. Yep.
And then you sit back and you see some kind of part of it.
I think a lot of these species that you're looking at, they thrive below ground, which is so cool because that's what you're building with your management, is the below ground first.
And the longer you go, the better it gets, the faster it gets better.
It gets better.
Literally.
Yeah.